Post-match analysis for Chat with Chaps, where it's just finished at the Den. Millwall 0, Luton Town 1. A very frustrating game. A frustrating game to come home and to come away with no points. Luton, they're a good side. They've had a full start to the season. Don't think we've just lost to a bottom six side. We haven't. We've lost to a top six side, and unfortunately for us, we've just come up short. In many games, I think we come away with at least a point today, but it wasn't to be. Very frustrating, and it just shows you how fine margins in football are, because that one goal on 10 minutes has won the game for him. And Neil Harris has come out post-match and said he was disappointed with it. So we'll get into it. In terms of the lineup, it was the same lineup. The same team that started against Sheffield Wednesday. And why wouldn't it be? Lucas Jensen in goal. Back four, Ryan Leonard, Japhet Tanganga, Jake Cooper, Joe Bryan, Casper Denor, George Saville, and then S.A. Honeyman Watmore in behind Josh Coburn. Unfortunately for us, that wasn't the team that were even able to finish the game due to some injuries, but we will get into that. And to be honest, my bad feeling about the game all started when they made us switch halves. Because and someone may be able to fact check me on this, but I can't remember the last time. It always just seems we lose games when teams make us switch round. I don't know if that's actually true. But I had a bad feeling from then on. Call me superstitious. But I felt the first sort of 10 minutes or so, I say 10 minutes or so. Maybe I should say 5 minutes or so. I thought we did all right. I thought we made a good start. I would love to know, by the way, and I'm recording this, what's the time now? 5:15 on Saturday. So it's literally straight after the game when I've got home and that. And I didn't feel that we played hardly any long passes today. I actually felt we tried to play football. And for the neutral, I know it was only 1-0, but the game had everything. And we're definitely going to talk about the referee. I don't normally, but I think today warrants it. And I just feel the football is far better than we have been playing. But anyway, we'll come on to that. First 10 minutes, I think Jake Cooper had a header. I felt we pressed well. But the one moment we get wrong, and we get it wrong from the very, very start of their build-up. So I haven't been able to watch this back because all I've been able to do is watch the clip that Sky have got. And I haven't got any screenshots for you today because I'm pretty sure if I put an image up with Sky Sports on it, that it may get taken down. So no images. So I'm going to have to just describe it. But they play their way out of defence, and it's quite easy. Liam Walsh, who in the first half, I thought he was very impressive. Second half, not so much. But he just, a couple of nice, intricate one-touch passing. They looked really sharp. And the ball finds its way out on the left-hand side to Chong. And this is where there's like a catalogue of where we could do better. Not necessarily mistakes, but where we could do better. So the first thing is Ryan Leonard should not let that ball come in. He should prevent the cross. Chong puts it over, and I've made a rough mind back because I told Luton fans that Ryan Leonard is the best one-on-one defender in the league, and I do firmly believe that, but I don't think he necessarily showed it today. He didn't have a bad game, by the way. I'm not suggesting he did, but he got done a couple of times today, which is very un-Ryan Leonard-like. Anyway, ball comes across, and then Jensen and Bryan both go for the same ball. Jensen ends up getting a fist on it, but Joe Bryan's out of position. The ball then is being played around by a couple of their players in the middle of the park. It finds its way to Mengi. Mengi, he does well. He hits it true into the bottom corner. But there's like 5 Millwall players in the way, and we don't close down quick enough. And it just goes through a load of bodies, and Jensen unsighted, and it goes into the net. And it's a half-decent finish. And Jensen then sort of clearly gestures towards the fact that he was unsighted by sort of pointing in front of him. And I'm not going to lie, I don't like that, because you have to ask yourself the question, why is Jensen doing that? And Jordan Archer used to do this all the time. If he conceded a goal, he would always just put his hands and point to his defence. I don't like that. I don't think Jensen was blaming his defence. So then you ask yourself the question, well, why did he do that? So therefore, he must be signalling to everyone else that he was blind, unsighted. And I just personally don't like that. I don't want to see I want my goalkeeper to just ooze confidence, and doing that doesn't. And I get it. He's had a tough start, but he's had some really good games. And actually, I thought we had a good game today. But yeah, whenever you see sort of goalkeepers doing that, it's not my sort of thing. But anyway, side note, they take the lead 1-0. And if I'm honest, they say goals change games. And I think this did. And I know we're only 10 minutes in, but that really took the stuffing out of us. And I think that we struggled. And for the next 10, 15 minutes, they dominated. I've got here that they hit the post on 22 from Chong, possibly possibly a foul on Honeyman. I'm not so sure, to be honest. They hit the post. Yes, it's outside of the post, but I felt the first half they were pretty much in control. They had another really good chance on 46 where Lucas Jensen. It's a really good save, by the way. If you watch it back, it's actually right in the corner. I think it's Mengi again from a corner. But it's because Jensen's his positioning's good, and B, he's so long that he's able to get down across. It's a really good save because that comes from bodies too. But I just felt the goal took the stuffing out of us. Chong was finding tons of space in between the kind of pocket between Leonard, Tanganga, and Denor. In that space, they were finding him all the time. Liam Walsh in particular, as I said, in that first half. And on top of them, asserting their quality in the first half. And let's be honest, they're a good side. I would be shocked if they're not in the top 6 come the end of the season. They're a good side. They're a Premier League side. They've lost a few players. They lost Barkley, Townsend, Ogbene, but they've got the nucleus of what was a Premier League side last season. So they are a good team, and I think they showed that. And were they miles better than us? No. But I think they were just a bit sharper. And in the first half, they certainly were. Having said that, I just felt, particularly in the first half, things just weren't falling for us. And I know it sounds stupid, and it might be like, well, listen, you're blaming, physics and whatever. But some days you just have that, some days you don't, right? And I just felt things weren't falling for us. I think we tried to put Watmore through it, hit the back of his heel, just things like that. And then, of course, it was, summarised by Josh Coburn going off injured, which it's just, to me, this just shows how reliant we are on a player that's not even ours, which is just, I'm not going to get into the whole recruitment thing. And I've seen a lot of people say they thought the recruitment window was really good. I still don't think it has been, because I think we're still too reliant on a centre forward that isn't even ours. Quick side note on this. For anyone that's listened to Neil Harris's post-match, if I'm Macaulay Langstaff, I'm asking myself, why am I here? Because there's a couple of things that Neil Harris said, which I'm just like, basically leads me to believe that Neil Harris doesn't really, I don't know, not doesn't rate him, but doesn't see him as a Millwall type striker. He alludes to how Josh Coburn is a Millwall number 9. He alludes to the fact that Coburn had started the game and got out pressing, or we were able to play our style with Coburn. Again, alluding to the fact that we can't with Langstaff. And then he also talked a bit about having a focal point up top, which Langstaff just isn't. So it's really bizarre. Unless the desire was to have Langstaff to play in a 2, I don't know. But it is a little bit confusing. And the fact that our focal point, we have 2 and they're both injured. One obviously is unproven in Ivanovic, and the other one is now Coburn, who is injured. We don't know how long for. It's to do with a calf. So it's really frustrating. And that's why I think we needed another forward. We did, in my opinion, on top of... We need that focal point. Michael Obafemi did it very well for us at the back end of last season. We didn't sign him, and the fact he's gone to Plymouth, I think, says a lot about his character. And I think Neil Harris was probably right to do that. But having someone like that can almost bully teams at time and single-handedly take that role on, which it is a thankless task for a Millwall number 9, I think we're short. And if we're going to have just Langstaff for a little while, it's no disrespect to him, it's just not his game. Thought he was bright when he came on, by the way, but in a different way. Couple of bits here I've written down in the first half. I thought Joe Bryan had a really poor first half. Couple of mistakes on 40 minutes and then on 46 between him and Cooper could lead to potential opportunities. If I'm honest, I think Luton possibly could feel hard done by not being 2-0 up in the first half. And that changes the complexion of the game. Goals change games. And who knows, they could run out to win comfortably. Then there were two moments on minute 47 and minute 48, which again, I'm going to talk about the referee now because I don't normally talk about the ref. A few of you have actually told me that I should. So this is a good opportunity for me to do so. I think his name's Josh Smith, this referee. I've never heard of him. I should probably check that because my mate told me and he's a complete piss taker. So he's probably told me a random name and it's not. But I'm going to go with it was Josh Smith. And I thought, and this, when I say this, I'm not talking about just for Millwall. I'm talking about in general. His performance was shocking. So bad. And so I've seen this back on replays. I think Mengi should go. I think he should. The first booking he got, I think, was really soft. He didn't deserve that. But when he's got that, I think the second one he's got to go. He catches him, and plus he puts his arm across. I think he's got to go, Mengi, and that completely changes the complexion of the game. Don't get me wrong, we're not very good against 10 men. Well, we weren't under Gary Rowett, but that's a big mistake from him. Conversely, Casper Denort also on a booking. They're breaking from, I think, our corner, and he makes an outstanding challenge on 48 to break it up. And that was, I had my heart in my mouth at that time when he made that tackle. But going back to the referee, I mean, I've written down here that I think there were penalty claims for both sides. There was some really odd fiasco with Liam Walsh on 20 minutes where he had multiple talks to him and Honeyman. Then he went back to Walsh, and he went over to the dugouts and spoke to both managers. I don't know what all that was about. If anyone knows, do let me know in the comments. Obviously, got the Mengi sending off. He blew up constantly at corners, would never let anything run. And then, to me, the pinnacle was what happened on 59, which I'm jumping ahead. I will come back a little bit in a moment, with Joe Bryan being down. Now, listen, Joe Bryan ended up being okay. That's fine. We didn't know that. And the fact that people looked a bit panicked, Kaminsky did in goal, and the fact that referee hasn't blown up, and also, by the way, the fact that Luton didn't kick the ball out, I thought that was a disgrace. And I don't know, because obviously I can't hear what's being said, but I looked at when Alfie Doughty had the ball by the dugout, and I could see Rob Edwards screaming at him. Now, Rob Edwards is either screaming at him to carry on because he thinks there's an opportunity, or he's screaming at him to put the ball out. Either way, they didn't put the ball out. So my assumption, therefore, is that Rob Edwards did not tell them to put the ball out. And if that's the case, that's a shambles and that's a disgrace, in my opinion, because who knows what all sorts of position that Joe Bryan could have been in. Thankfully, he was all right. So I thought that was really shocking, and not sure if Alfie Doughty knew about the situation, but I think everyone was certainly alluding to the fact that there was something wrong. And Alfie Doughty should know better because he's a Millwall fan, and he proved that by putting on a Millwall shirt at the end of the game, which I found amusing from a Millwall fan. But as a Luton fan, I don't know if I'd like that, but who cares? Anyway, I've gone back in time. So we come out at half time, and Jake Cooper, who did go down in the first half, doesn't come back out, and Sean Hutchinson comes on. So we've lost two crucial players, first team players, crucial to how we play, but also crucial to how we play from a set piece perspective. You actually look at that team's height, and without Jake Cooper and Josh Coburn, we're not that big. And I think that was something else that we notoriously put a lot of balls in the box. I shared a stat on one of my other shows in the week. And by the way, just a quick segue. Obviously, I do like my data, and I've done a data show with Ben Green from the podcast, and a guy who's does sort of football analysis. He's a Bristol City fan, but he does sort of football analysis. And I think it was one of the best shows I think I've ever done, and I really enjoyed it. So if you are into your stats, I will link it right now so you can have a watch of it. But yeah, side note. But he doesn't come back out, and the stat was, by the way, we've put up, obviously after game week 4, we'd put 20 balls in the box from throw-ins. which was 8 more than anyone else in the league, an average of only 5. So we do use that a lot. And we did today, but without Cooper, without Coburn in there, we do look like a small side. I've written here 57 Tanganga. So there were 2 moments today where I was just like, wow, I'm watching players that play for Millwall. One was Esse in the 41st minute, which was a deft flick around the corner. It was just class. And on 57, Tanganga with an outstanding tackle, really full-blooded Millwall tackle. Not only does he do that, but he manages to keep the ball on the pitch because it's right near the edge. And then he sort of does a drag and skills someone, I don't know who it was. And it was just like, this is watching a Millwall player. It's unbelievable. And I'm just going to say it now, right? There was only one man of the match, and it was Japhet Tanganga. He was phenomenal today. I wish, because I'm recording this on Saturday, all of like my geeky little stats of tackles, interceptions, all that kind of stuff, XG, all that kind of stuff, I don't have it. That's one of the drawbacks of recording this on a Saturday. Obviously, I'm just trying to get it out as quick as possible. So, but I can imagine that was up there with. He was just outstanding. You know, he's up against Adebayo, who I'm sure he scored. He got a decent goal return in the Premier League last year. Probably a striker that's worth between 5 and 10 million, and he's pocketed him all game, in my opinion. I thought he was outstanding. I thought he won that battle completely. Sam Parkin, by the way, also did a little review after the game, and he said the same. Tanganga was outstanding. Absolute Rolls Royce of a defender, and many more performances like that, and he won't be with us. And Luton were actually rumoured to be interested in him over the summer. So let's just hope they keep their noses out. But him and Esse just at times just look a cut above, even playing against Premier League opposition like Luton. Obviously, they were last year. In the second half, I felt we tried to change shape a little bit. What we tried to do was we tried to push Leonard and Brian further up the pitch. Saville dropped a little bit deeper. Watmore and Honeyman sort of came inside a little bit more. And yes, we created a few good opportunities, but in reality, we just didn't take them. I do believe, again, I haven't got all the stats, but I do believe that we had more touches in the box and we actually created more chances than they did. Interestingly, we had, I think we had just over 50% possession today, which is also uncharacteristic of Millwall. I thought we played some good stuff today. I don't remember seeing many long balls. I thought we were. It's a real shame because if one of those 2 chances that we'll come on to talk about now go in, I think you feel completely different. And the players didn't get booed off. The only person who got booed off was obviously the referee. But I thought we did all right. I really did. And if Coburn doesn't go off, it's all if, buts and maybes, right? Because Luton can sit there and say, well, if we don't hit the post in the second half and that goes in, in the first half, that goes in. I also felt they were happy just to soak up pressure in the second half. If they actually wanted to try and come out and score a goal, I think it would have been very different, right? So it's all if, buts and maybes, right? But I can only go on what I saw. And if Langstaff puts that ball in the net on 80, Liam Walsh had a good chance just before this, by the way, where he puts it either side of the keeper and it goes in, but he doesn't. On 80 minutes, a great tackle from George Saville in the middle of the park on Liam Walsh. Ball breaks through. Watmore puts a great ball through to Langstaff. And it's one of them where it is a fantastic save with Kaminsky's foot. I mean, he's what I think they paid 3-4 million. He's an international goalkeeper. This is what it gets you. It's a great save, but he'll be kicking himself, Langstaff, because that is would have been a great way for him to get off the mark, obviously get the fans on side, get the manager on side, right? And unfortunately for him, it didn't happen. And it's a shame. And we huffed and puffed. Obviously, we brought Aziz on 66. We brought on Imaku, Scanlon for his debut, who looked, fairly assured going forwards, didn't have to do too much defensive work. And it just doesn't fall for us. On 80 minutes, you're asking yourself, will we get one more chance? We do from a corner. Even Jensen's up. And it's a good towering header from Sean Hutchinson. And it's just a super save from Kaminsky. It's an outstanding save. And then the referee, of course, doesn't let us put it back in the mixer because why would he? Why would he allow that to happen? And it goes for full time. And you can see the players are dejected. The fans are dejected. It's a poor crowd, by the way. Sky, just these 12:30 kickoffs, they're just... there's so many things that are wrong with them. You know, even little things. I sound stupid. I was talking to some mates. Ruins your accumulator because you don't have so many games to be able to put on a bet at 3 o'clock, right? So, yeah, it's a frustrating game, and in my opinion, that could easily have been 1-1 if we'd have got the goal early enough that we could have gone on to win it. In a scenario where Coburn and Cooper don't get injured, do we have more chances from set pieces? But then if we had scored, do they come out the blocks more in the second half rather than soaking up pressure? They could have gone 2 up in the first half. It's all with buts and maybes. But if I'm honest, the way I would summarise it is to say that Luton are a better side than us. And at times they really showed their quality. I thought they were sharper. But even having said all that, I still feel hard done by to come away with no points. And I think Harris has come out in the second half, after the game and said he thought we played well, we should have more points. And I agree with him. I don't see, and this isn't a conversation about the manager, but I don't see any other manager getting more out of that group of players. You can't tell me that everyone is not giving everything on the pitch. You can't tell me that. I thought we played some really good football too. I will look at the stats tomorrow because I cannot remember many long balls at all. Some of the link-up play was brilliant. We're playing through the lines a lot better. Getting Romain Esse on the ball is crucial. And what they're doing with him is, yes, he's playing on the right, but he's able to drop in pockets and turn, and he's got that ability in tight situations. Casper De Norre seems a completely different player this season. He looks fantastic, and I would imagine a lot of that is down to the fact that we're playing a different style and we're getting more out of him that suits his game. I think he's been brilliant this season. There wasn't many... was there any bad performances today? I mean, let's just go through it. Like I said, Lucas Jensen, he made 2 or 3 good saves. I don't like the fact he threw his hands up after the goal, but I think he made some really good saves. The back four, Leonard did some good things. He got done a little bit, but then Chong is a £10 million player. Tanganga was outstanding. I thought Cooper, couple of shaky times with mistakes, but overall he played first half. I thought Joe Bryan had a terrible first half, but then a decent second half. I thought De Norre and Sav did well. They were playing up against, at times, 4 central midfielders. Could you add Walsh? Was it Nakamba? Whoever their other defensive central holding midfielder was. Then you had Chong dropping in. And then was it, what's his face? They had another lad in there. I'm going to have to Google this whilst you're listening to me. Because it's not Taylor, is it? It's the one that does all of the running. Jordan Clark. Yes, Nakamba, Walsh, Clark, and Chong dropping in. And I thought those 2 did well against that. Watmore wasn't what he has been in the first 4 games, but he was full of running industry. I thought he looked a bit tired, actually, Duncan Watmore, towards the end. Maybe that was just me. Maybe it's hard to see the running stats. Maybe the players did run more than normal today. I don't know. But I did feel at times we looked a little bit more tired than we did against Sheffield Wednesday. But maybe that's the opposition. Don't know. I thought Honeyman was his normal self. I thought Esse, again, I thought he had a fantastic game. In another game, I don't know why he went off. And he did look frustrated. I'm hoping it wasn't an injury. But he did look frustrated. He sort of punched the ground in frustration that he went off. But that's probably just him wanting to play more minutes. And I get that. And then I thought Coburn did really well before he went off. In terms of the subs, I thought Langstaff did all right. In the context of what his game is about, I thought he did all right. If he scores that goal, I think you come off and you say he's had a really good game. So it's just hard on him. And then the only other sub I'll talk about, because he played quite a bit, he came on 66, was Aziz. I'm going to be honest, at the minute, I'm not quite having it. Listen, I've heard all sorts, and you can't. He's been here 10 minutes. You need to give. He's only young as well. Give him some time. But the things he's doing at the moment that's worrying me is some poor deliveries today. And he loses the ball sometimes in really poor areas that expose us. He needs to cut that out for sure. I'm sure he'll come good. All Millwall good wingers blow hot and cold. Let's give him time. Let's not get on his back. From all I understand, he's a really good guy, so he'll be working hard to try and sort it. So hopefully that comes true. And there we have it, guys. Frustrating, really frustrating. But I think we've been beaten today by a good side. I think the silver lining is we are creating chances. We're playing better football. We definitely should have more points than the points tally shows. And hopefully we can go to QPR next week and get 3 points. I do believe they've been beaten today by Sheffield Wednesday, where they were losing just before I started to record this. And did they lose? They got a point. They got a point. 96th minute. Oh, it was a 93-minute goal from Barry Banner, 96 from QPR. So they got a point today. Blackburn beat Bristol City 3-0. Oh, Blackburn have got to be the surprise team, haven't they, this year? Anyway, going off on a tangent. Right. Thank you for listening. I hope you're listening, Rosalind, by the way. Yeah, I hope you're listening. Nice to chat to you today, Rosalind and Rob. Always a pleasure, mate. Thank you all for listening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend if you can. I'm sure we'll get some more shows out for you in the week. As always, thank you very much for supporting the channel. Please just like, share, subscribe. Anything you do helps the YouTube algorithm. And remember, everything that we do this season, we're given to Cancer Research UK. We've made a great start. Thank you to all those that have donated. I want to give a special thank you, because I don't think I've been able to do this yet, to Peter Hamilton. You know who you are, Peter. Thank you so much for your very kind, generous donations. We really do appreciate it. So, thanks for listening, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye for now.